Yeah, I like to give Lance a lot of credit. One of the things that we notice from these camps and the culture is language. And once somebody has taken a camp, you see how their interactions, communication, and conversation changes, the things that they're posting. And at the heart of that is nonviolent communication, started by the work of Marshall Rosenberg, and we've integrated a lot of that language, mainly due to Lance, and so I'm excited for it. And the cool thing about it is in the past, a lot of techniques have been real judgment oriented, and they often get dogmatic, and they put other things down that's outside of what they've accepted. And what I've loved about ninjas, and Lance may tell you a little bit because he's reading the Bruce Lee, what's the book called?
Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do, he'll tell you a little bit on that end, is that it's not a closed system by any means, that we are open to principles, right? And if we can work with principles and keep our mind open, we are going to learn so much more. As soon as we close that part of ourselves down, we close ourselves off to learning, and that means we close ourselves off to becoming a better artist. And to speak on artistry just for a minute, like the reason that we want to say art and not even just an adjustment or not even just a technique is because art is created in the now. And so when you're becoming a great artist, you're learning how to become more present with yourself and be present in the moments. And that's when the beautiful creations happen in the now. And speak a little bit to Bruce Lee, man.
Yeah, the Jeet Kune Do is, the book itself is the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. And it's really the form of formlessness. It's not a technique. It is simply you embodying your authentic self while taking from a technique everything that is useful and discarding everything that is useless, and then bringing that into yourself and then living in a way that's congruent with your authentic self. And so every time that you study a new technique, you basically dissolve that into you and you become the next freshest version of your artist. And as you go through, you can collect these techniques, you bring them to a sense of unconscious competence, and also you start to learn what we've experienced. As you dabble in different techniques, you start to notice the principles that bind them together, the commonalities. And these threads oftentimes are not just within that realm. So it's not just the technique within chiropractic, but the principles that bond those are going to be principles that are true outside of chiropractic. And there's nothing in chiropractic that is not an issue here, that is not an issue at life. So there's no issue that is just a chiropractic issue, that is not a worldwide human issue. And when you look at techniques of language, techniques of exercise, techniques of any form of anything, the principles that bind them are the principles of life.
Lance mentioned the formlessness, right, of the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. And there's a quote that often gets said in martial arts, and it says, it's better to fear a man that has done 1,000 reps, right, of one kick versus 1,000 kicks one time. I said, okay, I get that. And I think a lot of techniques follow that same protocol or that same ideology, that if I have this one technique and I just go into the depths of it, that this is it. But I bring up this question. What about the person that has studied 1,000 kicks and trained them each 1,000 times? So it's like, how can we kind of lift off our previous capacity of what we thought was possible? Because I've heard people tell me that you can't do knee chest, upper cervical, and still be good at full spine. Like you got to pick one or another. To me, it's like if they are willing to dedicate to the training that it's necessary to be great at both, then they can. And when you train outside of the office, then you lift off those previous capacitors. If I was only going in the office and doing the work or just showing up to game time and not practicing outside of it, then yeah, I would have a certain capacity. But if you take the time to get better in your skill, in your craft, there's no boundary of what you can do and offer and your advancement as a human being. And so that's what really excites me about this work, is that there is no limit. There's no capacity, and it's bound by nothing. That the truth is, and I heard this from Marvin Tolsky the other day, that I'm not committed to chiropractic per se. I'm committed to the chiropractic principles. And so I'm not even limited by the word chiropractor, because I know in the bigness of this, and I know Lance agrees with me, in the bignesses of this, we're a healer, and bigger than that, we're a human being. And so what is capable of the human being, which is the most advanced creature in this planet? So what is capable? And how can you train your being enough to fully show? And what does that look like? What does it look like to become actually realized? To realize your true potential, and not just realize it, but express it. And what does that look like in the art? We lost faith in healing at some point, right? And so now it's like symptom reduction. Everything is a therapy that is a symptom reduction. That, I mean, you may feel better for a while. But I know that's not the true potential of the human being. The true potential of the human being can heal at any given moment, become more whole at any given moment, become more connected at any given moment. You say yours, right?
Ours to presence, man.
What's that mean?
It doesn't matter what the ingredients are. You can create delicious moments when you're a chef. If you're a cook and you require a recipe to create something, and if there's a missing ingredient, you can't create it, you've lost something there. And if there's one thing that is inherently true, is that life is unpredictable. And that you are guaranteed at some point to have a missing ingredient that you may in the past have needed to experience something. But as a chiropractor, as a facilitator, as a human being who makes the most out of every moment in my best version of myself, it doesn't matter what the ingredients are,
right?
Because I understand the principles are, the more at ease I am in my body, the more I will functionally differentiate into the person I want to be. That is true at the cellular level,
yep.
And that's true at the self level.
And that comes directly into chiropractic, and you talked about missing ingredients, because you may have trained, right, a certain style of an adjustment, and then you get a body type that does not accommodate that certain style of an adjustment. If you're a technician, you're lost. You don't know what to do. But if you're an artist, you take what you have and you create in the moment.